Hello everyone, this is Tale Smith Narratives, and today we are going to continue the story Bonku Babu's Friend. Through that door emerged a head, like a plain, smooth ball, and then the body of a weird creature. Its arms and legs were amazingly thin. With the exception of its head, its whole body was covered by a shiny pink outfit. Instead of ears, it had tiny holes on each side of its head. On the face, there were two holes, where there should have been a nose, and another gaping hole instead of a mouth. There was no sign of hair anywhere. Its eyes were round and bright yellow. They appeared to be glowing in the dark. The creature walked slowly towards Bonku Babu and stopped only a few feet away. Then it gave him a steady, unblinking stare. Automatically, Bonku Babu found himself folding his hands. Having stared at him for nearly a minute, it spoke in the same voice that sounded more like a flute than anything else. Are you a human? Yes. Is this Earth? Yes. Ah, I thought as much. My instruments are not working properly. I was supposed to go to Pluto. I was not sure where I had landed, so I spoke to you first in the language they use on Pluto. When you didn't reply, I could tell I had landed on Earth. A complete waste of time and effort. It happened once before. Instead of going to Mars, I veered off and went to Jupiter. Delayed me by a whole day, it did. Hehehe. Bonku Babu did not know what to say. He was feeling quite uncomfortable, for the creature had reached out and was examining Bonku Babu's arms and legs with its long, bony fingers. When it finished, it introduced himself. I'm Ang, from the planet Cranius, a far superior being than man. What? This creature, barely 4 feet tall, with such thin limbs and weird face, was superior to man. Bonku Babu nearly burst out laughing. Ang read his mind immediately. There's no need to be so skeptical. I can prove it. How many languages do you know? Bonku Babu scratched his head. Bengali, English, and Hindi. A little Hindi, I mean. You mean 2.5? Yes. I know 14,000 languages. There isn't a single language in our solar system that I do not know. I also know 31 languages spoken on planets outside your system. I have been to 25 of them. How old are you? I'm 50. I'm 833. Do you eat animals? Bonku Babu had mutton curry only recently, on the day of Kali Puja. How could he deny it? We stopped eating meat centuries ago, Ang informed him. Before that, we used to eat the flesh of most creatures. I might also have eaten you. Bonku Babu swallowed hard. Take a look at this. Ang offered him a small object. It looked like a pebble. Bonku Babu touched it for an instant and felt the same electric current pass through his body. He withdrew his hand at once. Ang smiled. A little while ago, you could not move an inch. Do you know why? It was because I had this little thing in my hand. It would stop anyone from getting closer. Nothing can be more effective than this in making an enemy utterly powerless without actually hurting him physically. Now Bonku Babu was genuinely taken aback. His mind was coming out of its stunned state. Ang said, is there any place that you have wished to visit or a scene that you have longed to see but never could? Bonku Babu thought, why? The whole world remained to be seen. He taught geography, but what had he seen except a few villages and towns in Bengal? There was so much in Bengal itself that he had never had the chance to see. The snow capped Himalayas, the seashore in Digha, the forests in Sundarbans, or even the famous banyan tree in the botanical gardens of Shibapur. However, he mentioned none of these thoughts to Ang. There is so much I would like to see, he finally admitted. But most of all, I think I would like to visit the North Pole. I come from a warm country, you see, so Ang took out a small tube, one end of which was covered by a piece of glass. Take a look through this, Ang invited. Bonku Babu peered through the glass and felt all his hair rise. Could this be true? Could he really believe his eyes? Before him, an endless expanse of snow, dotted with large hillocks, also covered with ice and snow. Above him, against a deep blue sky, all the colors of a rainbow were forming different patterns, changing every second. The aurora borealis. What was that? An igloo. There was a group of polar bears. Wait, there was another animal. A strange, peculiar animal. Yes, it was a walrus. There were two of them, in fact, and they were fighting. Their tusks were bared, large as radishes, and they were attacking each other. Streams of bright red blood were flowing on the soft white snow. It was December, and Bonku Babu was looking at an area hidden under layers of snow. Still, he broke out into sweat. What about Brazil? Don't you wish to go there? Asked Ang. Bonku Babu remembered instantly piranhas, those deadly carnivorous fishes. Amazing! How did the Sang know what he would like to see? Bonku Babu peered through the tube again. He could see a dense forest. Only a little scattered sunlight had crept in through almost impenetrable foliage. There was a huge tree and hanging from a branch. What was that? Oh God, he could never even have imagined the size of that snake. Anaconda. The name flashed through his mind. Yes, he had read about it in an old issue of the National Geographic magazine. It was said to be much, much larger than a python. Oh, here was a canal. Crocodiles lined its banks, sleeping in the sun. One was going to go into the water. Splash! Bonku Babu could almost hear the noise. But the crocodile had jumped out of the water very quickly, with his eyes nearly popping out. Bonku Babu noted that there was virtually no flesh left on the belly of the crocodile. Bones were showing through clearly. Attached to the remaining flesh were five fish with amazingly sharp teeth and a monstrous appetite piranhas. Bonku Babu could not bear to watch anymore. His limbs were trembling, his head reeled painfully. Now, do you believe that we are superior? Ang wanted to know. Bonku Babu ran his tongue over his parched lips. Yes, oh yes, certainly, of course, he croaked. Very well. Look, I have been observing you, and I have examined your arms and legs. You belong to much inferior species. There is no doubt about that. However, as human beings go, you are not too bad. I mean, you are a good man, but you have a major fault. You are much too meek and mild. That is why you have made so little progress in life. You must always speak up against injustice and protest if anyone hurts or insults you without any provocation. To take things quietly is wrong, not just for man, but for any creature anywhere. Anyway, it was nice to have met you. Although I wasn't really supposed to be here at this time. There's no point in wasting more time on your earth. I had better go. Goodbye, Mr. Rang. I'm very glad to have made your. Bonku Babu could not complete his sentence. In less than a second, almost before he could grasp what was happening, Ang had leapt into his spaceship and had risen over Poncha Ghosh's bamboo grove. Then he vanished completely. Bonku Babu realized that the crickets had started chirping again. It was really quite late. Bonku Babu resumed walking towards his home, his mind still in a wondrous haze. Slowly, the full implications of the recent events began to sink in. A man. No, it was not a man. It was an Ankh. Had come here from some unknown planet and spoken to him. How extraordinary! How completely incredible! There were billions and billions of people in the world. But who got the chance to have this wonderful experience? Bonku Bihari Datta, teacher of geography and Bengali in the Kankurgachi village primary school. No one else. From today, at least in this particular matter, he was unique, in the whole wide world. Bonku Babu realized that he was no longer walking. With a spring in every step, he was actually dancing. The next day was a Sunday. Everyone had turned up for their usual meeting at Shripati Babu's home. There was a report in the local paper about a strange light, but it was only a small report. This light had been seen by a handful of people in only two places in Bengal. It was therefore being put in the same category as sightings of flying saucers. Tonight, Poncha Ghosh was also present at the meeting. He was talking about his bamboo grove. All the bamboos around the pond in the middle of the wood had lost all their leaves. It was not unusual for the leaves to drop off in winters, but for so many plants to become totally bare overnight was certainly a remarkable occurrence. Everyone was talking about it when suddenly Bhairav Chakravarti said, "Why is Bonku so late today?" Everyone stopped talking. So far, no one had noticed Bonku Babu's absence. "I don't think Bankam will show his face here today. Didn't he get an earful yesterday when he tried to open his mouth?" said Nidhu Babu. No, no, no. Shripati Babu sounded concerned. "We must have Bonku. Ramkanai, go and see if you can get hold of him." "Okay, I'll go as soon as I have had my tea," replied Ramkanai, and was about to take a sip when Bonku Babu entered the room. No, to say entered would be wrong. It was as if a small hurricane swept inside in the guise of a short, dark man, throwing everyone into stunned silence. Then it swung into action. Bonku Babu burst into a guffaw and laughed uproariously for a whole minute, the like of which no one had heard before, not even Bonku Babu himself. When he could finally stop, he cleared his throat and began speaking. "Friends, I have great pleasure in telling you that this is the last time you will see me at your meetings. The only reason I'm here today is simply that I would like to tell you a few truths before I go. Number one, this is for all of you. You all speak a great deal of absolute rubbish. Only idiots talk of things that they don't know anything about. Number two, this is for Chandi Babu. At your age, hiding other people's shoes in umbrella is not just childish, but totally stupid and wrong. Kindly return my umbrella and brown canvas shoes to my house tomorrow. Nidhu Babu, if you call me Bankam, I shall call you Nitwit, and you must learn to live with that. And Shripati Babu, you're an important man, of course. You must have chamchas, psychopaths. But let me tell you, from today, you can count me out. If you like, I can send my cat to you. It's quite good at licking feet. And, oh, you are here as well. Poncha Babu, let me inform you and everyone else that last night an ang arrived from the planet Cranius and landed on the pond in your bamboo grove. We had a long chat. The ang was most amiable. Bonku Babu finished his speech and slapped Bhairav Chakravarti's back so hard that he had choked. Then he made his exit, striding out with a bounce and a whistle, his eyes sparkling, his head held high. In the same instant, the cup fell from Ramkanai's hand, shattering to pieces and splattering the hot tea on most of the others. Thank you for